Колеги, ми продовжуємо.
Dear colleagues, let's continue our agenda, and I would like to invite to the floor the Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Good afternoon, dear journalists. I will tell the information from the ATO area. Yesterday, atmosphere on the contact line was worse because our enemy more than 20 times used heavy weapon to shoot our position on Donetsk and Mariupol direction. According to preliminary evaluation, more than 160 mines were launched into our positions. Also on the west suburbs of Donetsk, our positions were shot by enemy snipers. And now I will tell you details. In Lugansk direction there is a truce, but next to Stanitsa Luganska, our border guides saw the flight of enemy's drone. In Donetsk direction, combat actions are going on. They are low intensivity. The hottest points in these directions are Zaitsevo, Novgorodska, and Avdiivka. In Mariupol direction, enemy broke ceasefire in Marinka and Krasnogorivka, and on the front line, Chermalik-Talakivka. Except for small arms and grenade launcher, occupants were using heavy weapons prohibited by Minsk agreement. I mean mine launcher 82 and 120 millimeters. Almost all these shots were precise. For the last 24 hours, any Ukrainian soldiers died, but 2 of our soldiers were wounded. It happened next to the Putilovska mine and next to Krasnogorivka. In both times, these wounds happened due to the enemy's shots. During the last 24 hours, about 74 breach of ceasefires were noted. According to the information of Chief Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, reinforce of occupants came from Russian Federation. Through Izvarina, trucks came with people, about 60 militaries, and ammunition, about 30 tons of ammunition. Through Amvrosivka, 3 tanks, 2 APCs, and 3 trucks with ammunition came. Through Novoazovsk, 4 trucks with militaries came. Except for that, our intelligence reported that with the aim to kill field commanders who are not controlled by the Russian Federation, joint operative group came from the General Staff of the Intelligence Forces of Armed Forces of Russian Federation, about 150 people. Also, Chief Intelligence Directorate of Ministry of Defense of Ukraine got information about many cases of loitering of Russian occupiers at Donbass. For example, on 22nd of February, militaries of Armed Forces of Russian Federation installed metal constructions of the former wholesale base Rond and Gorlevka and were trying to sell them as metal scrapped. And also to Russia, about 8 heavy trucks went to Russia with metal scraped from the industrial object of Donbass. Ukrainian militaries found
the offender was the resident of Kramatorsk who entered the ranks of illegal military formation in June 2014 when the town was occupied. He, with arms in his hands, patrolled in the street and took an active part in takeovers of administrative buildings. Now we would like to demonstrate you his confession. I am a resident of Kramatorsk. In 2014, 2016, I took part in takeover of administrative buildings for the benefit of DPR, illegal republic. I understand my guilt and I confess and I ask all supporters of DPR and LPR that they lied to you, and I asked them to go to Ukrainian side. At the same time, another militant surrendered to law enforcement bodies of Ukraine. He used the Secret Service program you awaited at home. Here is his confession. I learned about the program they wait for you at home, that you can return home if you have not killed someone. And now when I came here, I can see that nobody makes some disorder or kill children here, as we are told by Russian propaganda there in DPR. The Security Service of Ukraine officers, along with policemen, revealed the next large cache with arms in the village of Vadane. 16 anti-tank guided missiles, 6 grenade launchers, RPG-22, grenade launcher RPG-7 with 5 shells, 15 shells to grenade launcher SPG-9, 19 underbarrel grenade launchers, 22 grenades, lightweight machine gun Kalashnikov machine gun, and sniper rifle by Dragunov. Ukrainian military men have brought humanitarian assistance to frontline villages in Mariupol sector. In particular, the officers of military and civil cooperation team brought clothing and toys for children in the kindergarten in Granitna. Residents of Novogrigorenko received food, sweets, and clothing. Besides that, the military men brought coal to villages. The civilians in frontline villages are always glad to see Ukrainian military men who help them with humanitarian aid. And finally, through the vehicle crossing control point Zaintseva, 6 trucks carrying charitable aid from charities for civilians came to the occupied territory. Thank you. Are there any questions? There are no questions. Our next event will be at 2 o'clock.